Today we're going to continue to graph using slope-intercept form, but our equations look a little different. Let's read question number 1. Solve the following equation for y, then identify the slope and y-intercept of the line 9x minus 3y equals 15, then graph. So this is my equation. My equation looks a little bit different than what we've been looking at. The equations we've been working with have been in slope-intercept form. Remember, slope-intercept form looks like this. Y equals mx plus b, where y is isolated by itself on one side. I don't have that here. I don't have y by itself. Let's also remember, when we're in slope-intercept form, the coefficient, or the number in front of the x, is our slope, and the number out here that's added or subtracted is our y-intercept. Pause the video and write that down. Okay, now let's rewrite our equation over here. 9x minus 3y equals 15 is the equation we're going to graph. Notice I don't have y by itself, so I'm going to use algebra to get y by itself. Just like when we were doing two-step algebra a couple weeks ago, if I'm going to isolate y, I've got to get rid of this -3 that's multiplied by it and this 9x that's being added to it. Let's get rid of the addition part first. How do I get rid of an added 9x? I subtract 9x. And what I do to one side, I must do to the other. So now my equation, those cancel out. My equation on this side says -3y. And on the right-hand side, I'm going to put the x term first, so it's in our slope-intercept form. So this is, be careful, use the sign with it. This is a subtracted 9x or a negative 9x, so negative 9x plus 15. I still don't have y by itself, so there's one last thing we're going to do. To get rid of this multiplied by -3, I'm going to divide both sides by -3. You have to be careful because you can't just divide this 9 by 3. You have to divide the entire side by 3. On the left-hand side, the -3's cancel out and you're left with y. But be very careful. On the other side, you have to divide this. -9 divided by -3 is 3, so I have a 3x. And then I'm also going to go this way. 15 divided by -3. 15 divided by -3 is -5. I want you to pause the video there and make sure you understand that and you have that written down. Okay, now this is the equation we're going to graph. So we're going to do this just like we've been graphing for the past couple of days. The coefficient of the x is my slope, so my slope is a 3. 3 as a fraction is 3 over 1. And my y-intercept is -5. Remember, to graph that, I start at my y-intercept, which is -5, and I use my slope to find more points. My slope is 3 over 1. Remember, it's vertical change over horizontal change, so I'm going to go positive 3 is up 3, positive 1 is right 1. I'm going to do that a couple times. Connect those, and I have my line. Make sure you extend it and put arrows at both ends. Pause the video and make sure you have all that correct. Okay, let's try the next one. This time the equation we're solving for is right here. 5x plus 6y equals 36. So I'm going to start by copying that down. Now, doing the same thing we did up above, I need to isolate y. So the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the 5x. I'm going to subtract 5x's from both sides. This side, the 5x's cancel out and I get 6y. Again, I'm going to put my -5x first so that it's in slope-intercept form. So I have -5x plus 36. Still don't have y by itself, so I'm going to get rid of this multiplied by 6 by dividing by 6. Again, remembering I'm dividing the entire side by 6. On the left-hand side, the 6's cancel out, and I get y. On the right-hand side, I'm going to make this little heart thing again. The negative 5 divided by 6. Well, if you put that into your calculator, you get a decimal. Since I don't know how to graph a decimal for my slope, and I want my slope to be a fraction, I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to leave that as negative 5 over 6. And I'm also going to divide this way. 36 divided by 6 is 6. So now when I graph this, my y-intercept is 6. And I'm going to use my slope, negative 5 over 6. Negative 5 means down 5. And positive 6 means right 6. Make your points. I can't fit another one on there, so I'm just going to use the 2 points. Make sure you put arrows. Excellent. Pause the video. Make sure you have all that down. At this point, I want you to go ahead, turn the page, try number 3 on your own. When you're done, pause the video and see if you have the correct answer. Okay, here's my work for number 3. I added 4 to both sides, and then I divided by 8. You'll notice I have 2 different sort of answers here. If you divide these, you get 4 over 8, which is fine. If you've reduced it, you get 1/2. So either one of these 2 things is acceptable. 1/2 is just what you get when you reduce 4 over 8. So you could have this equation, or you could have this equation. And then you'll notice for my slope, I have one or the other. Most of you probably will leave it as 4 over 8, and that's fine. You don't need to reduce. Pause the video and make sure you have all that correct. If not, fix your paper, please. And then pause the video again and try number 4. Okay. Check your number 4. See if you have any questions. When you're done with number 4, you can move on and do 5 and 6. I'm not going to post the answers to those. I just want you to try those on your own. Good luck. After you've done 5 and 6, make sure you go and finish 7 and 8. What you don't finish in class, you do need to finish for homework.